Throughout history, various racial and ethnic groups have experienced prejudice and discrimination, but few have faced the extent of systemic oppression endured by Black Africans. This video aims to delve into the historical context and underlying factors that led to Black Africans being viewed as a threat in different periods. From the transatlantic slave trade to colonialism and the persistence of racial biases, this examination seeks to shed light on the complex roots of this detrimental perspective. In today's video, we will be showing you why Black Africans were historically viewed as a threat. Without further ado, let's begin. Pre-colonial Africa. Stereotypes and misconceptions. Prior to European colonialism, Africa was home to diverse civilizations, a rich cultural heritage, and sophisticated trade networks. However, the lack of accurate information about the continent led to misconceptions and stereotypes. Europeans often viewed Africa through a Eurocentric lens, perceiving it as primitive and inferior, reinforcing the notion that Africans were a threat to Western civilization. The transatlantic slave trade, economic interests, and dehumanization. The transatlantic slave trade, spanning from the 15th to the 19th century, was a pivotal period that perpetuated the perception of Black Africans as a threat. Economic interests and the demand for labor in the New World fueled this horrific trade. Africans were forcibly captured, transported, and enslaved, with their humanity systematically stripped away. Dehumanization justified their treatment and reinforced the notion that they were inherently dangerous. Colonization, power dynamics, and control. The era of European colonization in Africa further entrenched the idea of Black Africans as a threat. Colonial powers sought to exploit the continent's resources and establish dominance. The imposition of colonial rule perpetuated racial hierarchies, with Europeans maintaining positions of power and Africans subjected to subjugation. Colonial policies fueled racial tensions and reinforced the narrative of Africans as a threat to European supremacy. Scientific racism, pseudo-intellectual justifications. The rise of scientific racism in the 19th century provided pseudo-intellectual justifications for the belief that Black Africans were inferior and dangerous. Pioneers in this field, such as Carl Linnaeus and Johann Blumenbach, classified races hierarchically, with Europeans at the top and Africans at the bottom. These flawed theories bolstered discriminatory ideologies and contributed to the perpetuation of racial biases. Post-colonial legacies, structural inequalities, and social stigmas. Even after the end of formal colonization, post-colonial Africa continued to grapple with the legacy of racial prejudices. The socio-economic systems put in place during colonial rules, such as the extraction of resources and the division of ethnic groups, perpetuated structural inequalities. These disparities, coupled with social stigmas, contributed to the ongoing perception of Black Africans as a threat within their own societies and beyond. Media representations, reinforcing stereotypes. Media plays a significant role in shaping public opinion, and historical depictions of Black Africans have often perpetuated stereotypes. Through biased reporting, distorted images, and negative portrayals, the media has reinforced the notion of Black Africans as violent, impoverished, and inherently dangerous. These distorted representations have fueled unconscious biases, further marginalizing and stigmatizing Black communities. Contemporary racism, systemic oppression, and institutionalized bias. Modern-day racial discrimination continues to manifest in various forms, contributing to the perception of Black Africans as a threat. Systemic oppression, including institutionalized racism, racial profiling, and unequal access to education and opportunities, exacerbates social inequalities. These dynamics reinforce negative stereotypes, perpetuating the notion that Black Africans pose a threat to societal order and stability. Fear of resistance and revolts. During the era of slavery and colonialism, there was a genuine fear among European powers that Black Africans would resist or revolt against their oppressors. This fear stemmed from several factors, including the harsh conditions of slavery, forced labor, and the desire for freedom. Instances of slave uprisings, such as the Haitian Revolution, fueled the perception of Black Africans as a threat to the established order. Economic competition and resource exploitation. Black Africans often resided in resource-rich regions, coveted by colonial powers for their economic benefits. The desire to exploit these resources led to the portrayal of Africans as a threat to economic interests. This perception was fueled by narratives that painted Africans as competitors in the labor market or as potential obstacles to resource extraction. Religion and missionary zeal. The spread of Christianity during the colonial era brought with it a missionary zeal to convert non-Christian populations, including Black Africans. This religious motivation, combined with the paternalistic view that Europeans were morally superior, reinforced the perception of Africans as a threat to religious and cultural norms. It led to the suppression of indigenous spiritual practices and the imposition of Western values. Geopolitical power struggles. In addition to economic interests, geopolitical power struggles played a role in portraying Black Africans as a threat. European nations vied for dominance and control over African territories, leading to conflicts and wars. The demonization of Africans in propaganda and political rhetoric served to justify colonial conquests and consolidate power. Legacy of stereotyping. Historical prejudices and stereotypes have a lasting impact on societal perceptions. The portrayal of Black Africans as dangerous, primitive, or uncivilized in literature, art, and popular culture has contributed to the persistence of negative stereotypes. These stereotypes have perpetuated the belief that Black Africans are inherently threatening, reinforcing bias and discrimination in various contexts. Systemic racism and white supremacy. The ideology of white supremacy, which propagated the belief in the inherent superiority of white people, has influenced the perception of Black Africans as a threat. Systemic racism, deeply entrenched in social, political, and economic structures, perpetuates racial inequalities and reinforces negative biases. This systemic oppression maintains power imbalances and perpetuates the notion that Black Africans are a threat to the established social order. Movements for equality and change. Despite the historical challenges faced by Black Africans, there have been numerous movements for equality and social justice throughout history. From the abolitionist movement to the civil rights movement and beyond, these movements have sought to challenge the perception of Black Africans as a threat and fight against systemic discrimination. The ongoing struggle for racial equality serves as a testament to the resilience and determination of Black communities worldwide. The historical perception of Black Africans as a threat is deeply rooted in centuries of prejudice, discrimination, and systemic oppression. From the transatlantic slave trade to the enduring legacy of colonialism and the persistence of racial biases, numerous factors have contributed to this detrimental perspective. Recognizing the complex historical context and actively challenging and dismantling these prejudices is crucial for fostering a more equitable and inclusive future for all. It is only through understanding, empathy, and the rejection of harmful stereotypes that we can move towards a more just society. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.